up over my head right now. But could you kind of go and tell us what that is all about?
Are y'all seeing my screen or are you seeing my face? I'm not sure what people are seeing, but so the guess. Okay, gotcha. The guess ASIN is exactly what it sounds like. The program tries to guess the ASIN of the products you scan, which sort of, we've called it that just to sort of set the expectations that it's not going to be as accurate as some of our other matching. Basically, there's 4 different ways we match products. Either we found the UPC in the code somewhere, we're plugging into some kind of API that a website might have, or we've got a team of about 30 VAs behind the scenes actually making matches manually. And then the 4th way is keyword matching, which is what the guess ASIN feature does. And to enable it, you just go in to your, you come up to, let's see. Can you all see this? Can you see me, my screen? You just right-click on your extension and then go to Options. I'm not going to click it now because that would reveal my password.
Secret pin.
Yeah, there's an option that says Try Guess ASINs, and you just check that. And I think it's really one of the more unique features that has opened up a lot of new territory for you to source. So if you go to oaxray.com/sites, you'll notice that we've got, right now, we've actually got 3 more sites that haven't added yet, but 67 fully supported sites and 30 partially supported. Now, those 30 partially supported, we're busy with our VA team trying to match those, but it's literally millions of products to match up, and it just doesn't happen overnight. So what you typically get when you scan some of those sites is a lot of possible matches found results. However, if you'll check the Try Guess ASIN, it'll try to, based on keyword matching from the title and Amazon's API, come back with, Amazon will typically shoot you back, 3, 5, 10 results that look like it might be a match, and then we further have some filtering that's done on that. We'll try to provide a match for you. But don't freak out when you see that they don't all match exactly. That's just to be expected. That no software that uses keyword matching is it's just like typing in something in the Amazon search box, basically, and taking the first result, kind of like the Google "I'm feeling lucky" sort of thing. That's basically how it's working. But there's
an example of that, Todd?
Yeah, sure. Is there a site you want to check out that's
6 p.m. is fine with me if we want to start at the top of the list, or any of them you want to pick.
6 p.m. Okay, sure. So, okay, I think I've got it enabled here. Well, that didn't go as expected.
You know what I have found a million times, no matter how prepared I am for anything, none of the features I ever want to showcase ever work the way I want them to do when I get in front of a screen. It's almost like I have a sense of getting to something that'll never, ever work. Tyler feels the same way, I know, because I've seen him shake his head over there, that sometimes we'll get to things, and the moment we're ready to show it, we're ready to go, it never works.
Like the OAXRay contest where it crapped out in the middle of the video games for me.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I must not have it enabled, so I'm going to have to take myself off.
Yeah, no problem.
For a second. Can you take me off?
Yeah, Jordan's paused. I don't know exactly how to do it right this second. He's kind of our mastermind back there. You should have a little button over to the side that should say "Stop sharing my screen."
Gotcha. Okay.
Your screen is gone. So while he's doing that, what we're doing, if anybody's not really catching on, the whole idea is when OAXRay scans things, he went over the 3 different ways they match. This 4th way is allowing people who want to take the little bit of extra time to go through and actually confirm that something is a match or not. it allows them to go through and do that without having to do the contextual menu search or search through millions of other pages to try to find that. So by this guess ASIN feature, we're able to narrow down the possibilities. And granted, it's not going to be right. That's why it's called a guess. But it's going to give us our best possible options based upon the keywords that are there to get us the answer or the product that we're looking for.
And then with the feature of being able to compare the photos, you can usually quickly compare when you see that.
Exactly. Let's see if Todd's got it working yet or not.
Give me just a second.
No problem. Oh, while we have this little downtime, I do want us to invite everyone, if you guys are interested, June 25th. I will be in Cincinnati with Tedrick and Todd. Tyler's got some other business he's doing somewhere, like a vacation. But we're going to do a one-day in-person conference in Cincinnati, and it's going to be focusing on it's what we're calling it is an OA immersion. So we're going to drop ourselves into a world of OA. We have these guys coming here to showcase it. We've got me in the middle to kind of show you how to do some great deals. And then we're going to show you how to integrate a prep center in at the end so that you can literally go from start to finish and never have to leave your couch. And I think Todd's back with the match ASIN feature or guess ASIN feature.
I'm
ready to go.
Here's a site that's got some of both on it, and then it'll let me show you some different things. I've just searched for irons on Bed Bath & Beyond. All right, and here, if you ever see this asterisk, this red asterisk, that means that it's been matched by somebody from our VA team. So a human being made this match, which also can have errors, of course. So this has been matched. I've got an administrator code, so I can actually confirm the ASIN, whereas normal users can't. But here, if you hover over, those might be the same thing. I'm not sure. That's one I'd want to go take a closer look at. And you can also look at the title. Those aren't quite the same. When you're searching with brand names, or you've got product numbers like this product number in here, that's going to greatly increase the accuracy of the guess ASIN feature. If you are on a page and the titles are something like brown men's pants or purple trains or something like that, there's almost no way you're going to get an accurate result. But here's an accurate one here, it looks like. And so it just opens up a whole lot of territory because there literally millions of products we don't really have indexed yet, and these are the things that people aren't searching as much, because it's not quite as spoon-fed to you.
My kind of typical piece of advice is if it takes a little bit of extra effort, 95% of people won't take that extra effort, and I think that we've relayed that to you guys multiple times throughout this course, is that the real money to be made is when you take the extra effort, take that little extra time, and really dive down into it. So that is an awesome feature there, Todd. Can I ask about another one that I have been probably the most excited about overall?
Sure, let me just think about this.
Sorry, I'm stepping on everybody's toes. We're good.
The number of sites that has UPCs available in the source code is running out. And the ones that we are finding are fairly obscure these days, and so there's just not that many more sites that, at least in the U.S., that are going to be kind of easily fully supported with perfect matching. It's going to be this keyword matching for a while until we can catch up with our team to get them actually indexed. And that's really nothing to do with our software. It's just the reality of the way sites are constructed. They're not made for resellers. They're made for their own customers. So.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that. So you're telling me that actually in the HTML code on some of the sites there's a UPC code, and that's what's pulling and searching on some of them?
On many of them, yes.
Huh.
Not all of them, but many of them.
Interesting.
For eBay, it has to be in the details, it seems. but now the guess hasty.
Right. Well, and it's not always a UPC. Sometimes it's a ISBN or EAN. Or
yeah. A number you can search on Amazon.
So the next one that I was really kind of fascinated with, and I've played around with maybe 2 or 3 times, but I haven't dove into it, is the links tab. Could you kind of explain what masterfulness this little tab is up at the top?
Sure. This is going to let you do more than one page at a time. We're actually working, we just kind of started on this, that's a kind of a link bank where we'll have links you can kind of cut and paste. But you can do this from, it might be, a bunch of pages on the same site, or maybe you specialize in something and you're like Tyler, you want to look at video games across a number of different sites, and so you might save a bunch of URLs in a file and just load them up every once in a while. A few words of precaution on this. Don't start by loading 500 links in here. You will crash your browser. And the performance of this has a little more to do with your own computer specs than anything our server can do. But I would start with 3 or 4. You just paste them in here and hit parse all links, and you'll notice it's opening up another tab here, and that's going to enable the software to read what's on these additional pages here. And it's going to take it a little longer, of course. After a while, it'll come up here and it should say processing 1 of 4. And so this is a good thing to start, and then we'll do something else for a bit. It's not the kind of thing that's going to take all night, because if you do that many, it's going to really lock up your browser, kind of thing. But I'd start with 3, 4, 5, 6 and see how many your system can handle, and expand from there. So it's starting to do its thing here.
And then showing my buys only also really speeds it up.
Right, yeah, that's true. There's another new feature in the settings. It says show my buys only. And my buys, I think you guys have been over this before, but there are these 3 boxes here. And I wish I had set these up before the show starts, but it'll reduce the number of results you get, and that'll make it just a bit speedier. It still has to process through all the results just to see which ones meet your criteria, but it will speed it up. So here it goes, and then it's just kind of the same thing from here. And you'll notice these little gaps here, and these are kind of in between the pages as it's processing them.
So this is kind of speeding up the process. If I have sites that I go to on a regular basis, I can put them in there, leave, go get a drink, go mow the yard, come back, and it's all going to be done for me?
Yeah, that's the idea.
Okay, very nice. That's really fascinating. And you said you're creating a link bank. Is that on OAXRay.com, or when will that be out?
Right. Will be out when it's done. It's a big project to get all those done. Right now, I think we've got part of Toys R Us at OAXRay.com/links, but it's just a very small drop in the bucket, and I think this was kind of cumbersome, and we just realized this isn't the way to do it. We're going to have to figure out some other way. But what I would encourage all users to do is develop your own kind of link bank. Just as you're scouting and you find pages that you think might be useful to come back to, just put them in a text file, and it's just as simple as a cut and paste to drop them in that links link box here, and
Google Sheets works really well for it.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Now that's really awesome. And then the next thing I want to ask you about is the CSV Loader upgrades that you guys have been doing.
Okay.
I've seen some things in the Facebook groups. I've kind of CSV side of things I've played with, but not to a point where I feel like I'm an expert in that. So can you, if you could elaborate exactly what that is and what you guys have done to make it even better?
Sure. So it's one of our most popular features, really, for people with wholesale lists or who, just gathered a bunch of ASINs or UPC numbers. A lot of people are using it, of course, with the Nate McAllister's storefront stalker. And so, sorry, my computer's kind of locking up here, but
hey, at least you know what, one of the first webinars we did, my entire computer shut down. I had to leave for like 15 minutes because I had too many tabs opened, and I broke the computer. So at least yours hasn't shut down, so we're on the right path.
Okay. So when you run a lot of files through the links thing, it does cause your browser to be sluggish, and that's just one of the consequences of having kind of a client-side program like this based out of a browser. But so you can split large files up. One of the issues with the load CSV is, it'll start to choke after 1,000 or so. It depends again on your system, but some people can get by with 2,000. 500 is really kind of where I sort of advise people to start with. But so if you click here, it's really going to take you to this link, oaxray.com/splitter. And this is just a little utility that you can use to you can get a file, drag it, and it'll process, and it's going to split it into chunks that you can are more manageable for you to go through, and won't choke up your browser. So it'll once it processes, it'll ask you want 500, 1,000, 1,200. Let's say we want to do 500. We'll say split CSV, and it'll take it a little bit more, and it's going to generate. Now this was 11,000 items in this CSV file, and then here it will let you download them individually and go through in more manageable chunks that won't choke your browser.
Here's an idea for that. If you ever can, if I clicked, you should have a button on there that lets me auto load it in, and then put a little check mark so I know which ones I've done.
That's a good idea. Mm-hmm.
Just an idea so I don't have to remember which ones I've downloaded as I'm going through it, because I'm lazy like that and I would lose track of where I was at.
Gotcha. Yeah, we just got this online, so we'll expand on it and do cool stuff like that with it.
I like to throw ideas out there when I can.
The other update is basically we've added these custom fields. So if you have a file and you want to retain some data from that file, you can call it custom 1 through custom 9, the column headers. And then when you upload it and then you export it back to a CSV, it'll retain that data for you in these custom columns. A lot of times there's information that people were having to kind of go back to the original sheet to find, and this is just an easy way to retain that data.
So I'm able to upload that file with those custom headers in there. I say custom 1 in my file, and it's going to repurpose that after it runs.
Right. If you'll just call the header, the top row of that column, custom 1 or custom 2, custom 3, then it'll retain that when you export it to a CSV. It won't be in the grid here that you see when it loads, but it will be in the export.
Okay, very nice.
And we're around the corner. We're hoping to add support for EAN, ISBN, and then also keyword matching on the load CSV feature, and so be looking for those around the corner.
Okay, now the next thing on my list of things to ask you about was something that I think happened in one of our Facebook chats, and I honestly have no idea what the heck this is. I may have played with it and never called it by this name. But it says OAXRay Free Range Scraper. What in the hell is that?
This is a new tool we're developing. We're very excited about it. And I don't think you've played with it because I think
Okay, I
we're
didn't know if I
the
had or
only
not.
ones who have. I don't think you have about it. So this is exclusive right here for those of you watching the webinar. And it's not out yet. We haven't released it. It's not even really, to be honest, all that close to being released. But what it'll let you do, I can show it to you, and it'll probably have some problems, but you see the idea. Give me a site that OAXRay doesn't support, and we'll
Oh,
show
that's
you
a
what we
hard
can do.
thing because you guys have like 90 some of them you support now. Lord. Tyler, do you know any they don't? I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
511.com.
511.com. Okay.
Yeah, I bought 2 shirts from them yesterday on clearance.
What the hell?
Is this right? This looks like a landing
511
page.
maybe 511 Tactical. Yeah, 511 Tactical. There you go.
We don't really want to know what's in Tyler's search history, what we're learning right now.
Okay.
I wear those pants every day. The pants they make.
Okay. So what this tool is going to allow you to do is to basically lift the data from any site, including wholesaler sites, sites that only you know about, sites that are, very specialized, some, Cajun hot sauce site that no one's ever heard of, or whatever you want to do. So it'll open up a lot more territory, we feel. So I don't know. Let's. I know how Tyler likes his guns, so we'll gun cases here. So this is a separate extension, and it's going to look a little intimidating. And what we're going to do is we're going to kind of instruct it how to get the product, how to get the link, how to get the image, and how to get the price. And if you're really fancy, you can write what's called Xpath Queries or regular expression queries to ferret out this data. But
Oh yeah, everyone knows how to do that, don't they?
Yeah.
Speaking Greek.
So you click this pick XPath by click, and what we're trying to do is we're trying to get the product title. These look like very poor product titles for getting a keyword matches on, but nevertheless, so I'm going to pick that, and then I need to pick the larger frame around it, isolating it within that title. And then I'm going to come back up here and I do the same thing with the link. And then I do the same thing with the image. Getting the image is going to let us be able to, kind of compare the product to Amazon visually, so you can confirm or disconfirm a match. And then lastly, we need the. Oh, looks like the image didn't take. And then we need the price. I'm going to get the price. All right, and then now this sometimes works, sometimes doesn't at the moment. Okay. All right, that didn't work very well, but what it'll do is it'll, when it's working properly, it will basically return a CSV file with the image URL, with the product title, with the price, and the URL directly to the item. And then what the idea is you'll be able to upload that directly into the CSV feature using a keyword matching thing and basically use OAXRay everywhere. As you can see, we've got some work to do. Usually it'll return at least some, but didn't work in this case. I won't bore everyone by going over it on another site, but I think you see the idea of what it'll do.
Huh. So this is literally letting me go to a site that you guys haven't indexed yet, haven't even had the time to take a look at, that I may go buy my stuff off of personally, or for maybe it's wholesale or for something else, clicking a few buttons and then having it pull all that information for me so I don't have to search it?
Right.
Huh. And
so that's in the development pipeline.
Is that something that's 6 months, a year out? Is it sooner? Is it whenever you guys get it to a point where it's actually going to be consistently functional?
Well, I hope it's not a year out. I hope it's not even 6 months out. But it'll be released when it's done. We typically release things, when they're at least somewhat functional. Things it may not be perfect when we release it, but we also have to enable the CSV loader for keyword matching first to be able to really use it effectively. But I think it's going to be very useful, especially to people doing wholesale, because there are a lot of wholesaler websites that maybe are password protected, that kind of thing, that we'll never be able to support just because they're password protected. But you'll be able to get in there and get the data from them and at least do keyword matching with them.
Yeah, I'm not going to say any further from that, but a big idea light bulb just went off there. I was like, oh, the password protected bit I would have never thought of. That makes perfect sense. Because there's a few wholesalers that we have that I have to go through behind a password wall, and then I literally take their file out, I have to search everything up. Oh, that makes a lot more sense why you would do something like this. So, okay, got it. Okay, next one on my list is price history charts.
Sure, let me show it to you here. So this is something that I don't think is too far away from being released in some initial form. And basically this will, it's kind of like Keepa or Camel, except for it's all of our supported sites. And what it will do is you'll put the ASIN in for any given product, and it will show you the price history. We started keeping track at the beginning of April of this year, so we've got April and almost May now kind of logged in our history, and you'll be able to see what a price history of the source stores are, and that's very useful for lots of different reasons. Just so you can get a sense of, are you buying at a good time, not a good time, are all the prices kind of on the decline, and that sort of thing. Or you can see the cyclical nature of some products, or you can compare it to the Keepa or Camel charts and see how long has a product been viable as an OA flip, and add that to your research before you buy.
So now, is this going to be just day by day from the month of April till present day as we go forward, or will it be classified by week or month? How will that data kind of be consumable by us?
Well, we're trying to get it so that it's similar to Keep a Chart, where basically you can get the whole history of the product on one chart. But right now, we've got it where it's divided by month, which isn't really the most useful way to do it. But we're taking one step at a time with it, and we'll probably release it, as soon as it's usable without causing customer service barrage of complaints about issues with it. We'll release it as soon as we can and continue to improve it. But I think you could see the power of this sort of thing. And we'll want to integrate a picture of the product on here and the ASIN and all that, and ideally put Amazon's price right on the chart as well.
Very nice.
But we're certainly open and eager to hear ideas about what would make this most useful. And we also hope to have some alert features to this, but we haven't even started on that yet.
I was just about to bring that up. If we could get alerts kind of like Keepa, it would be pretty cool.
I see my brain goes a little different direction than that, Tyler. I would love to see a trend line that I could turn on or off that would allow me to see if the price is trending downwards or upwards, so that you could take the data and kind of give that line like I did in my classes back in college, that can say, oh, this price is trending downwards or it's trending upwards. Take that
right
along with your alerts and be able to say, well, this is definitely something that's trending upwards. We're getting towards Q4. Boom. Okay, time to buy.
Well, and, another thing we're going to be able to do is provide, we kind of froze in time Q4 prices in our database from last year, and so we're hoping to once Q4 rolls around, provide a Q4 2015 benchmark for people as one of the columns in your scan sheet to be able to look historically at what was going in 2015 at the peak of Q4 last year, and we think that'll be really valuable information as you try to predict what will do well this year and what might not do so well.
I've got to say, either you really stunned Tyler there, or a pretty lady just walked in front of his house, because his head went all over the place. He started looking like, huh? What? That sounds cool. Yeah, just like that.
It was a really weird noise. It turned out there was some empty car carrier driving by, because on the other side of the camera is my vehicle. Like, I'm in my garage right now, and it was the street over here. It was just really weird.
Whatever you say.
An empty car carrier in a residential neighborhood.
Okay, so then this is another one that I know you sent me as something you wanted to talk about, and I have no idea what it is. What in the heck is your local item finder? I don't even know where this came from or what this is. Could you explain this?
Sure, yeah. As you can see, we got a lot of bigger projects we're working on, and it takes time to get them up to speed. But yeah, it's basically it's a product that will allow you to, with certain stores right now, it's only we have it working, with Walmart, and it will show you items that are in stock at your local Walmart that you can go in and pick up. And so let me show that to you here.
If anyone is curious, this is the elusive Carl, the cat that no one can ever see, that is the deal-finding cat who uses OAXRay all the time, and is back here, and he's been a lot more fun. Tyler even has a shirt of him. I've seen it in real life.
You need to make an American Apparel version of it, because it's starting to come off of mine.
Okay, John has that file. I've got to get it from him. That was one of those. Okay. My dad made the file. He goes, I need room in my merch store, so I want to give you this one. He gave it to John. John never did anything with it. So now we have a file of the elusive Carl, which is amazing that he's sitting him on my head right now. But anyway.
Carl shirts.
I agree. I love the cat. I'm voting. But go ahead.
Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
I can.
Yeah.
Okay. So what you're going to be able to do is put in your zip code, which mine is 35761.
You all know where Todd lives now.
All right. And I'm going to put a sales rank in, or we want it to be less than, say, 100,000 and or probably greater than net profit of, say, I want to be able to find some items for sure, so I'll put a low amount of $3 in. Hit submit, and then we'll wait just a bit here.
So now this is just going off of Walmart right now?
Right.
Okay.
There's going to be a much fewer sites we'll be able to support with this kind of thing. In fact, it's kind of experimental at this point, really. But we do have it working at least kind of a little bit with Walmart. And so it's really going to be a big help to the RA folks to be able to go in and pick up something right away.
Yeah, I mean, this just... holy shit.
So this will show you the three closest Walmarts to me, and these are... I don't think we've even got the fees worked in here yet, but you can see it's going for $15.17 at Walmart and $24.95 at Amazon. So I don't think we've got the fees worked into the calculations yet, but this is something that's around the corner. I don't want to promise we'll have it done by any certain date, but it's something we're working on, and it'll we're not going to up the price. It'll just we might be able to buy this on the side, but it'll be included in the normal OAXRay subscription. At least that's the plans at this point.
I don't know. I'll give you $500 if you block the Twin Cities from everyone else.
Because I'm just sitting here thinking, like, do you know how much money can be made just off of one scan during Q4.
That's what I was thinking. Toys?
Yeah, I mean, Q4, if I run the toys...
I would say that these databases that we can get into are not like perfect representations of everything in your local Walmart, or it's, but it'll give you some good leads, I think.
Yeah, because I mean, if I think about the amount of time I spend going through items that may or the majority of items I look at if I'm doing the in-store or retail arbitrage at Christmas time may be out of stock. If I could at least get a generic, this may be in stock or may not, and I could print off a list and hand it to the guy who packs stuff in my garage and say, go buy this shit. Just go buy every one you can find of these. Here's the exact thing you're looking for. Here's a picture of it. If it doesn't match, don't grab it, but just go grab every one of these. I don't know if, wow.
Um,
and then you could do OA while they're doing RA.
Yeah, that's mind-blowing.
Yeah, while you load up your links tab, you can come here and so there's a lot of. We're also hoping we're starting to work on support for out of stock for every store we support and be able to indicate that better. We have to go through and kind of recode everything unique to each site, and we have to find an out of stock product on each site. But that's something we're working on, and I know that's been one big complaint is how many out of stock products sometimes you run across.
Okay, so before I start talking here, Jordan, if we could open up Q&A, I think it's already open, but if anybody has questions for Todd here, please go ahead and add them into the Q&A. Todd, there should be a little pop-up that'll show you some questions on there as they go through, but I do just want to take a few seconds here while we do the questions and they're coming in to say that something that I've noticed since I don't know, Todd, when we actually got together for our first webinar. I know Mike and John had been using OAXRay for a while. They said, hey, Chris, here's this really cool group of 2 guys that I really think you should talk with because their software is awesome. And I remember bringing you guys on, having a chat, thinking you guys should almost be running the webinar because you guys knew what you were talking about and had a pretty cool system at that point. But the evolution from where it was when we did that first webinar to where it is now is like astronomically different. Then it was like I don't know how many stores you supported, but it was like we support 15 stores, and now it's like 97. And now I'm seeing local item finder and CSV uploads along with the web scraping that's going to allow me to get into wholesale sites that are password protected and switch the entire game up. So now, because the biggest complaint I always hear with promoting OAXRay in any fashion is that too many people are going to use this and the prices are going to crash. But what I don't think people understand, and I know that you see the potential because you're on the back end with the code and kind of what's out there, there are so many products and so many different ways you can take something that the opportunities are endless. The people who say there's not enough items out there aren't using the software like it's meant to be used to the fullest potential.
They've never been today.
Yeah, I know, but it's just fascinating how big of a focus you guys have made on making the customer experience really, really nice and taking the feedback you get from the people who are using it, saying, okay, biggest complaint's out of stock. Well, instead of saying, well, you're out of luck, sorry, you go, well, we've been working to recode the entire software just to make sure that your life is a little easier when you're doing your sourcing, which I just want to give you guys a hats off because that's been absolutely wonderful, and it's great to see you guys keep growing in that fashion.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I think the folks who've been with us from the beginning certainly know how far it's come. They say if you're not embarrassed when you launch your first product and you launched it too late. So we certainly are just kind of incrementally added and added and added, and we'll continue to do so. I see one question here of, are we going to add to the price? We've got no plans to increase the price. We may sell some things kind of a la carte on the side, but our intention is to just roll these tools up into OAXRay and let users benefit from them.
I remember your guys' pricing strategy was we want to be at a price point that is high enough to not let everyone use it, but allow those who actually have the money to invest into software and inventory that can really benefit from the software be the ones who utilize it. And I think that your price point's been great, and I'm really excited to hear that all of these tools will be rolled up in there. Now, somebody may really love this local item finder and may have an ability to buy it a la carte, but I don't know what that looks like down the road because I know it's not even fully functional yet. But it's still fascinating how you guys have been able to keep that price point and expand with the velocity you guys have expanded with.
If I had my way, it would be $1,000 and limited to 100 people.
I've heard some folks say that, and then of course we get a lot of pushback on the other side. $99 a month? Are you kidding me?
You pay more for cable, people. Just saying. Okay, so do we have any more other questions?
Yeah, Chris, I've assigned a few to you, and I've assigned a few to Todd. So if you don't see them, just click on that pop-out thing that says questions on the right-hand side. So.
Okay.
You want me to go first, Chris, or you want?
You go ahead. I'll try to find out where mine are hidden.
So one here says, any strategies for pagination of target.com results? For example, you can't open a bunch of pages at one time on Target, like Walmart and Amazon. Well, I would say, use the links tab. I haven't tried this, so I hope it works. But if you'll just gather those links and put them in the links tab and try to run it like that, I suspect it will work. Is this similar to BrickSeek? I assume you're talking about the local item finder, Sean. I've only used BrickSeek once a long time ago, so I think it is a little similar to that. Yeah, I'm not sure that BrickSeek is oriented towards resellers. Maybe it is. I'm not very familiar with it, but I think it's similar in that it's tapping into store databases and showing you where products are at different stores. Next question: roughly how many total functions does OAXRay have? I assume you mean by functions different features. That's hard to say exactly. I don't know. I never counted them. But we got 5, I think, main tabs: the Amazon to Amazon Deal Finder, the Link tab, the Load CSV tab, your Buy List, and then the Main tab. But then on each of those tabs, there's multiple different things that might be called functions, and then there's some things outside of the tool itself that I've showed you tonight that might be considered functions. So I'm not entirely sure I know what you mean by functions, but how many fully supported sites for USA are you targeting for 90 days for USA? I think, if I understand the question, how many more fully supported sites in the next 90 days for the US? Off the top of my head, probably a pretty small handful that are fully supported by a UPC match right out of the gate, and even those are going to be rather obscure because we've just already got the low-hanging fruit enabled. And we do, once we've matched enough of the products, closing in on 90, 95, 100% matched by our VA teams, we'll go ahead and call those sites fully supported. And so I'd say in the handful, 5 to 10 probably. It's hard to say. The next question is a cloud-based multi-thread bulk upload import solution on the horizon, queuing in the background, i.e. option to import individual files or multiple. Yes, we're definitely interested in doing that. We haven't started it yet, but one of the problems with doing something client-side, meaning on your own computer, is that it can only handle so much data at one time, and if we have a specialized server that'll do that, we are looking into that, but it's not like right around the corner or anything. The next question: what 5% matching means? Basically, that I'd try on the sites page to give users some indication as to how much of the site is kind of indexed, meaning exact matches. When we launch a possible matches found or a partially supported site, initially no matches on there at all, and then our VA team will start working on it. And then, since we've launched the keyword matching feature, the guess ASIN feature, we've been more aggressive at putting out partially supported sites because there's more utility in them than there was before. Before we could only handle so many at a time because we can only match so many at a time because it's millions of products and it just takes time. So 5% means about 5% of that site is indexed, and those are very rough estimates. Every I don't know, a couple of weeks, either I or one of our VAs will kind of take a representative sample from that site and get a rough percentage of how much of the site is indexed and update the chart there. So when it's at 5%, you can pretty well expect you need to use the guess ASIN matching feature to get much of anything out of it. Next question, what do you think about tactical arbitrage? I haven't tried it. I like the folks who are behind it. It seems like a great tool, but I'm focused on OAXRay. Contact support as to the column CSV shop. It told me it was in. Okay, the next question, there was a kind of a bug in the software where there was a CSV shop column appearing on some people's scan, well, everyone's scan really, and our programming team is addressing that. If you just hover over that column and the column header, you can hide that, and it shouldn't be a problem, but we are going to fix that soon. Not to let out any secrets, but ballpark, how many OAXRay users? 1 to 5,000, 5,000 to 10,000. It's well under 5,000. Well under 5,000. I find the two biggest issues with OAXRay are product mismatch and quantity mismatch. These are the massive time killers and source of greatest frustration. Are you taking steps to improve? What have you considered allowing more user input to improve your data than maybe just the mismatch checkbox, or maybe you need to hire more real eyeballs to check the mismatches that people select? Okay, so there's two different things here. Yes, there's mismatches, and basically we have improved that in that sometimes the mismatch is based on a source site, and like not on the site item you're scanning. It's like, say you're scanning Toys R Us and it's a mismatch on Target or something like that, and people were mismatching those, and what we realized, the system we had behind the scenes was only checking that against the site it was scanned on, and we've corrected that now, and so we hope to greatly reduce those mismatches. And we've also got some other tools coming up behind the scenes that are going to enable us to fix mismatches quicker. We have talked about crowdsourcing that. However, we have some concerns about introducing bad data into the system. But it's possible we could send crowdsourced mismatches, if like an ASIN correction into a queue for review. That's a possibility. And then the second part of that is the quantity. Of course, I think most people know you can update the quantity, and that part is crowdsourced. If you'll hit enter when you're in that quantity box, it will save it. So for the next scan, it should update that. So if there's something else we can do that would be helpful, we'll certainly look at it. But I think part of this is just the nature of trying to match sites that weren't meant to be matched. We'll continue to try to improve the data. All right, that's all the questions I see.
Okay, we have one over here that is, I think it's the last question I have. The other two you kind of covered already. But somebody wants to have a really souped-out computer. Any reference or preference on what they should have to run this at full capacity?
Well, I can tell you what I have, and I still run into performance issues. I have 16 gigabytes of RAM, an Intel 7 processor, so that's what I'm using. But I mean, you don't need that to run it. You can run it on much less, and I don't honestly think going out and dropping $1,500 on or $2,000 on a supercomputer is going to make all that much of a difference to you. But
I live 10 miles from Ray.
And then the last question is, if you had to go back and if you had never used OAXRay before and you haven't built it, what would be your biggest piece of advice you would give yourself as someone just starting off?
Talking to me?
Yeah, I'm talking to you.
Okay. Gosh. Yeah, I thought those were questions for you. If I had never used OAXRay, what my
with the knowledge you have, what would be the biggest tip you could give somebody for using it?
I honestly think some of the I find we get a lot of questions about, well, I can't find anything. I found the most stuff in clothing and shoes, and the results are less than perfect because Amazon comes back often with either sub-ranks or zero ranks from their API, and a lot of people just gloss over that. But if you actually go in and check them individually, you can find a lot of deals in shoes and clothing and some of the department stores, and the department stores have great sales, especially they probably have some great sales on Memorial Day weekend.
Awesome. I think that's a piece of advice I give a lot of people. Do something that's harder than anybody else. You got to do a little bit of added research. A tool can get you so far, but you give two people the same hammer, somebody's going to be able to build a house and someone's just going to put a hole in the wall. It just depends on the person using the tool and the way you are instructed to use it. Because I know, like my wife's standing in the other room right now, and she would go, if I gave her a hammer, she probably couldn't hang a picture very well or fix something that was broken. Me, I'd probably do it. I would probably do it in a really poor fashion and make it even worse than it was. But you give it to somebody who's trained and does it all the time, they're going to be able to make it look fantastic. So I just think that it's a bunch of skill, a bunch of practice, and the more you play with it and the more you experiment. I mean, today we just released a blog post on FBA Master of 20 different ways you can use OAXRay. If you're really, truly stumped, I know the guys at OAXRay have something that's very similar on their site. I went into a little different detail than they went into, but the stuff exists out there, and if you are stuck at a point and can't think of any new way of using it, you can go out from there. So I think that we are just about done. It's 8:58. Todd, I do want to thank you for coming on today, but I do want to give a big, huge thanks. Thanks to Tyler, too. But the big thanks I want to give is to Jordan. You guys don't know this, but Jordan is this kind of guy. I'm not sure if you guys can see him or not. He's actually sitting in his office right now. He has taken the time out to set up the WebEx or GoToWebinar. He has taken the time to program everything on the back end to make sure you guys got your email reminders. He has done all of the recording, all of the editing for this, and he has been kind of the tech guy through all of these. So everybody, if you could give a big shout out to Jordan in the Facebook groups, tell him thank you. He has just been the guy who has made this happen. I know that we talk here and say things and show you examples. I know Tyler did a great job with his video, but honestly, without Jordan, we would have been limited to like 50 people, and it would have been a very small class, and everybody would have had to watch the recording. So I just want to say thank you, Jordan, for taking the time and putting all the work into it and making this a reality. So thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. I'm totally happy to do it. Just want to give back for all the good info that I've gotten and money that I've made from it. So totally happy to do it.
Awesome. And I want to thank you guys all who have attended this course. I know it's been a nice 4 weeks, a full month of weekly courses with us. And I do want to thank you guys for attending. We will announce the winner of the VA service early next week. You guys will get a few more emails from me with this recording, an invitation to some of the conferences we're going to be at, doing some in-depth training over OAXRay, and also inviting you guys to our Facebook group, some blog posts. We do want to thank you guys here. I don't know where we'll go from here. You guys may see different courses in the future. You may see more free courses. Who knows? But I do want to thank you guys for taking the time in a busy schedule to join me every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Time and have a little fun. So this has been a blast. I want to thank you guys again. And if you guys have any questions, the Facebook group will remain open, but you're always welcome to ask them on FBA Master in the Facebook group or on the blog. Myself, Tyler, the other two guys, Mike and John, are always on there. We're always looking to help in any way we possibly can. And I just want you guys to know we want you to be successful to the best of your ability in everything that you do. So if we can ever help, just let us know. But thank you guys, and I hope you guys have a good rest of the night.
Thanks.